You know, sometimes this life can get rough. You get knocked down, but you gotta get up. Keep going.
How are you? Excellent. Oh, yeah. How are you?
Let you film.
No, you're good. Come on through. It's going to be a minute. Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Chafee. I am the Administration Manager for 261 Fearless, Inc. And I'm so thrilled to be bringing you the next Empowerment Talk with 4 of our amazing charity runners for Team Boston 2023. We are going to talk about why running matters to them and how running to make a difference is important. Hi, Deanna. How are you?
I'm great, Kim. How are you?
I'm great. Are you looking forward to Boston? It's coming up soon.
I'm so excited. It's going to be such an amazing opportunity and experience, and it's going to be life-changing, and I just can't wait.
Yay. It's hopefully going to be epic. I'm sure it will be. Can you just introduce yourself really quickly as one of our charity runners? Just give us a brief overview of you.
For sure. I'm Deanna Hollister. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I was, I think, selected by 261 Fearless because I've inspired many women in my community to take up running. And it's something that I'm really passionate about. It's something that I really believe in. I think that women can accomplish so many goals in their lives, and that running just helps inspire them and gives them that motivation to move forward and to reach their dreams.
Absolutely. That is absolutely why we wanted you to be part of our team. We are so thrilled and honored that you wanted to run this race with us. And actually, that's part of the reason why I wanted to jump on this Zoom with you today, because we are putting together an empowerment talk with some of our charity runners when we get to Boston. And I was hoping that you would want to be part of that panel. Is that something that you'd be willing to do?
For sure. I'd love to. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Wonderful. Okay. Well, we'll see you in Boston soon enough. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. It's so nice to see you, Kim.
It's so nice to see you too. Boston is getting close.
I
How
know.
are you
I can't
feeling?
wait. Excited, nervous.
Yeah.
I have some pretty big goals for this marathon, so I hope I can do it. I know I can do it.
You can
just,
totally do it.
It's
Yes.
like when it is all here, it's just like those like pre-race jitters that
Yes.
where you put in all the work, and it's just, it's soon enough. It'll be time to like show it off.
Yes, soon enough, soon enough. Well, I wanted to chat with you just really briefly today because we are asking just a few of our charity runners who are running Boston for us to participate in this month's Empowerment Talk, where we will talk all things running and especially what running to make a difference means to you. And I was hoping that you would want to participate in that with us. Is that something you would do with us?
Absolutely. I'm so honored. Thank you for the invite.
Fantastic. Yay. Well, can you just share with us your name and just a little bit about you?
Of course. So I'm Sarah Snyder. I am a runner based in New York City, and running Boston will be my 3rd marathon. So I'm really excited.
That's so amazing. Yay. Wonderful. Well, we'll see you in Boston soon, Sarah.
I can't wait. And thanks so much for the invite.
Awesome. See you soon. Hi, Maria. Are you excited for Monday?
That's tomorrow. I'm so excited and nervous.
So exciting. So I have a question. I'm hoping that you'd want to chat with us a little bit about your journey coming to Boston and running the marathon for 261 Fearless. So will you be part of our empowerment talk?
Sure. Happy to.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thanks. And can you introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Maria. I'm a runner based in Dubai. I'm originally from the Philippines, and yes, this is my 6th major. I'm getting my 6th star tomorrow.
Amazing. Tomorrow you're getting that 6 star. Perfect. Monia, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you feeling about Boston?
I'm excited, a little nervous. It's my first time, but the adrenaline is already starting to kick in.
Excellent. Wonderful. I have a question for you. You've been so amazing and a wonderful part of this charity team, and I'm hoping that you will want to be part of an empowerment talk that we are going to host to kind of share our experiences. So is that something you'd be willing to do?
I would be honored to do that. Thank you for inviting
Fantastic.
me.
Can you just tell us a little bit about you?
Absolutely. So my name is Sania. This will be my first Boston Marathon. I live here in Boston, and I work a lot in women's health and women's education. So 261 Fearless was the perfect match for me, for my running community, and for me to run Boston.
Excellent. We can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Until I got to kind of university and graduated, was in my early 20s. I also was living in New York City at the time, and I was a witness. I was to the New York City Marathon. I was a spectator and cheering, and I saw this and I thought, I want to do this. I had never run a race before. I had never been part of a running community. Like all my runs had been just on my own. And so I went out and signed up for the New York City Marathon. I would not necessarily recommend that for everyone. I just want to kind of clarify that. But it worked for me, and it worked with my personality and what I wanted to do. And like everyone else here, I was hooked. It was just, I loved the challenge. I'm not one of those people who finishes and like, oh, that feels so great. It's like, no, I'm tired. It was exhausting. It was a mind battle that I was able to accomplish. And so having that feeling of success, even through the horrible runs, even through the runs that you're going, how am I going to get through this? Yeah, exactly. And you get through it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the inner strength that comes out as a runner. So that's kind of mine. I started, just as a teen, thinking this is something I was supposed to do, and it turned into something much more than that.
Well, that leads us into our next question, because I think we can all agree that once you start running, it really changes you, and not necessarily physically, right? Like you were saying, Sania, that initially was one of the things that you were thinking of when you wanted to start to run. But we all know that running really changes you mentally, emotionally, even more so. And so I'm curious just how you feel like running has changed you, maybe from when you started to right after you started running to when before you started to now. So Sarah, what would you say?
I'll say running has changed me the most when I started doing it consistently. Like it became an actual habit and routine in my life. And I'll say that was the pandemic. Like it actually, like running consistently for me, I was in the epicenter. And so it was like, if you can run, you can breathe. And if you can breathe, you don't have COVID. And like that was legitimately mentally just like how I got through the earliest parts of, COVID and the pandemic. And I was using it in a healthy, positive way. And then I'm somebody who, like, I'm a video producer for my job. I'm in a very high stress situation all the time, and we're very results oriented. We have product, content to get out. Deadlines are crazy. And it's very hard to like stop and appreciate all of the like good work that you do along the way. And running has really made me appreciate the journey. It's, because not every run is amazing. Some of them are, but even the bad ones, not all of them. Yeah. But it's made me appreciate like the good ones and the bad ones. It's made me appreciate the good ones and the bad ones and everything in between. And knowing that I can go a few more minutes longer than I thought, or a few more miles longer than I thought. And the rewards are so much greater because I can appreciate the peaks and the valleys, and there's still results. Like I'll say I've become a serious runner in the last 2 years, and just I don't really care that much about pace, but the amount of like growth and success I've seen on my pace just in 2 years, purely out of consistency and strength, has changed so much.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. Maria, what would you say?
What can I say? How did it change me? I think it changed me entirely, completely, physically, mentally, emotionally. It has always been, I'm always thinking that I can't do things. Like I have this self-delimiting belief that actually I cannot do that, I cannot do what I'm thinking, there's something that hinders it. And when I started running, I realized that actually you can be disciplined enough to do what you can do, what you want to do, and you can actually get there.
Right.
It might not be as fast as a cheetah or whatever. I'm probably a sloth or a tortoise, but I can actually get there. So yeah, and it works in all aspects of my life, in my work, in running, in my family, in myself. So yeah.
Well, and running is really a metaphor for life, right? Like, especially
Completely.
running marathons, but
Yeah.
just running in general, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't get off the couch and run 26 miles
Exactly.
or however many kilometers it is. You build to that, right? So
Yeah.
it's one step at a time. And like you said, when there's something going on for work or in your life that
Yeah.
you feel is just too big of a challenge,
Yeah.
you have to realize, well, it doesn't have to be done tomorrow. I can work up and get there, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're all here because we want to make a difference, because we believe in the power of running. So I'm curious why you chose 261 to want to run the Boston Marathon for, and why that matters to you, and how that will kind of be on your mind as you go into Monday when you toe the line in Hopkinton. Deanna, what would you say?
So I come from a background, I'm a police officer, so it's a field that is dominated by men. And before that I was in the infantry, the Canadian Armed Forces.
Wow.
And infantry. So walking around, slugging it out, I was probably one of the first 10 that was ever run through the program.
Wow.
And the first for my regiment
One of the first 10 women?
in Canada.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And then the first for my particular regiment. And that was tough. And I learned that not everybody loves women, not everybody supports women.
Even these days,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, even these days. So it helped me move away from like that cattiness of high school where you're kind of competitive to really understanding and supporting that, like, and supporting women and understanding the importance of us acting as a team and a collective, because we have enough feedback from society about we should be this way, we should look this way, we should act this way. We don't need to tear each other down. And 261 is about, you know, finding these women, empowering them through running. I've done that so many times at work with, you know, younger officers that are talking about they can't deal with the stress, or they're, you know, employing unhealthy habits, and finding them and saying, what about a marathon, or what about a half marathon?
Yeah.
So I have one scheduled with a girl in 6 weeks in
That's
Ottawa.
wonderful.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that's why I love this organization, because it takes, you know, somebody that's maybe spiraling or going through something, and it gives them an avenue to move forward, to set goals realistically and move forward.
And a positive
accomplish.
outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Sania, how about you?
So my background is actually in history, and I have studied women's history and history of sexuality for years and years and years now, and I also do a lot of work in women's health and women's human rights issues. And so being in women, or predominantly women's spaces, is something I'm very comfortable with, is something I'm very familiar with, and just as a feminist, it's always, I do my best to support women causes as much as possible. And because I'm a historian, I knew Catherine's story. You know, I'd seen the infamous, well, not infamous, but famous photo of her, you know, attempting to be thrown off the course, and so I was very familiar with that. And when I wanted to run Boston, I looked and I saw 261 Fearless instantly, and I was like, I'm not running for Tom Brady, so I'm going to run for Tom Spencer.
I mean, I might run for Tom Brady.
Maybe, yeah, no offense to Tom Brady's
No.
charity or anything, but I knew, like, if my options were
Sure.
Catherine or Tom Brady, I was going to go with Catherine without thinking twice.
1,000%.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's wonderful. So how do you stay motivated to run? I mean, I know probably knowing that you have to run 26 miles is partly, but it's hard some days to get out there, especially if you have a really bad run. I remember when I was training for Boston, my 15-mile run, again, my first longest ever, it was so hard, and my legs felt like lead like the whole time, and I just thought, how am I going to do this and run 26 miles when I can't even run 15? It was so hard to get back out there and just continue on. So I'm curious, like, how do you stay motivated? Maybe if you're not running for a particular race. Sarah, what would you say?
I would say I don't stay motivated. You know, in all honesty, I think like it comes with a discipline. You know, like I know I have really big goals, and the only way to achieve them is to like sometimes like grate your teeth, get your freaking shoes on, and get out there. You know, and I'll say the way I help myself stick to my goals is I ask for help. I'll say that was the biggest thing for me with this race in particular. I have a time goal this time.
Okay.
And I've missed it by a couple minutes the other two, and so I was like, okay, what can I do to give myself every like ounce of possible success that I can? So I have coaches for this race that you know are also awesome women that have, you know, I've leaned on them a lot. you know, and then I've asked friends for help, you know, people at work for help, raising money for, you know, charity has been a huge like game of asking for help. So just then feeling surrounded by that, you know, giving gracious energy, that has helped channel and keep my goals, you know, going. But it's not every day is based in motivation. Like a lot of it is based in discipline.
Yeah.
And, you know, then it makes the good runs worth like actually getting out there for.
Yeah. Deanna, what would you say?
I have a husky, so there's like no missing runs. And I don't know what this training has done to her, but she had been slowing down. She's almost 5 this year, so I was finally getting to a point where there was some calmness in the house. But all of these long mile runs have made her into a sled dog. And she's a maniac again. So if I don't run her every day, she literally will bounce up and down. But for me, it's goal setting and it's setting races. And, you know, committing to that, okay, I want to do the 6 world majors now, so what does that look like? If I don't have a goal race, or if I don't have, like, something that I'm doing, then I won't hold myself accountable. You just don't, because it's like, well, I don't really need to do 15K today, I can do 10. Right? And then I'll cut my lawn, and it will be the equivalent. So if you want those longer miles, like, if you want to do that, then you have to commit to the race. And I'm so envious of you that you got into New York. I have never won a race lottery, ever. Like, ever. It's been insane. I've entered so many, and I keep losing, so I'm jealous of your luck. It's amazing.
Well, we also have a New York team, so, you know, I'd be happy to have you.
Can I say one thing about that, though? Because I also think it's just important to be kind to yourself. Like, there are times you're thinking, okay, I'm supposed to run 8, and you get out there, and you're like, I can't do this, I run 6. Like, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up for it. Don't, you know, Monday morning quarterback going, how do I fix this? It's like, you just move forward. And you recognize that's going to happen. No training plan is perfect. And even if you're not training and you think, oh, I'm going to run, you know, a 10K today, and you don't, that's okay. Like, it's the joyful movement is part of this. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not always beat every single, it's like, it's okay to be okay kind of thing.
Absolutely. Joyful movement. I love that phrase. I'm stealing it.
Go for it.
Absolutely. You have to have grace with yourself, but also make sure that you do keep yourself accountable and know that not every run can be like that, right? Because then you are telling yourself that you don't believe in yourself, that you can do it. So yeah, it's having grace, but knowing the balance is really important.
And sometimes just putting your shoes on is like actually all it takes. Like, I had so many pity parties for myself on my long runs on this cycle. I was like, okay, you know what, bring it. Let's be as mad as you want. You're out here, your shoes are on, and I'm like, okay, you're mad. Well, by mile 4, you're like, oh, this is kind of fun. You know, so your mindset can change in the middle of it too. Like, so at least for me, it's just putting the shoes on too.
Definitely. I found that if I put on what I was gonna like go run in, like first thing in the morning, then I had a better chance of actually doing what I was supposed to do. But well, since we're talking about being part of a charity team and fundraising, I feel like that's almost a marathon in itself. Do you have any tips or like specific fundraisers that you felt worked really well for you? Maria, what would you say?
For me, it's a little bit different because fundraising in Dubai is actually not so open. So if you need to fundraise in Dubai, you have to apply for a permit from the government.
Oh, interesting.
And they only approve the fundraising activities if it's under the charity that they had approved. So in the whole country, probably in Dubai only, there are only 10 charities that are licensed by the government. So how I did mine, of course I didn't get the chance to, I tried to apply for a permit but I didn't get it. So how I did mine is I talked to my closest circle and they talk to their friends. So it's purely word of mouth, and I always post on my Instagram all my workouts, all the stuff that I do. I put it on my stories, and I'm not sure if I'm inspiring people. Apparently I do. So so they don't put on my Give and Gain portal, but they give it to their friends and they say, okay, transfer to Maria, and Maria will just put on Give and Gain. That's how I did. So I'm not really sure if I will be the right person to say what will my tips be. I'm sure there are lots of activities that are great to do as a fundraising activity, but it doesn't work for me.
But you know what? you found a way to work
I did.
around
Yeah.
the challenges that you had,
Yes.
which is amazing.
Yes. So yeah,
You didn't just give
impossible
up.
is nothing. Adidas.
That's right. Sinia, how about you?
For me, it was really emphasizing what 261 Fearless is about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of my community, I've been running for years and like decades now. They're like, oh yeah, it's another marathon. Like it wasn't, me running was not the motivating factor, but when I took the time to talk about 261 Fearless, people were like, oh, okay. And I have to be honest with you, not a lot of my friends who are not in the running community, they didn't know who Kathleen was. So I
Right.
explained her story and why it was such a big deal and what 261 did. And then they were like, oh, okay, yeah, this is very much in line with who you are, what you do, your values. And so I really leaned into that story and that mission. And that really allowed me to reach out to a wide group of people when I explained why I was raising money and what it was going for. And that really helped a lot. And it's persistence. Like I kind of word of mouth, but you have to, like for me, the best thing was consistent emails, reaching out, friends of colleagues and so forth.
Right.
It takes work. I'm not denying that.
Right.
It
It does.
takes work, but
Sure
you
does.
put it in and, like I said, emphasize the mission and the values. That was really helpful for me.
Yeah. Deanna?
So I'm a little bit unique in that a lot of my close family and friends are fundraising, like they're exhausted with my fundraising. Because I sit on the board for Alzheimer's Society of Durham Region, and I also do a lot of fundraising for the charity that rescued my dog from northern Manitoba. So, you know, I definitely, one of the key things with fundraising, if you want to be successful, is you need to find your audience. You need to find the people that this is going to resonate with, because that's going to be that soul select group of people, and usually probably women this is going to resonate with. So that is who you're targeting when you're fundraising for this charity. I took a different approach this time. I looked at like this opportunity. I haven't run a marathon, I think, since New York in 2018. And I kind of looked at it like, okay, this is like a rebirth, it's a regeneration. So I actually did a deep dive in my house and I started just purging things and cleaning things, and Marketplace was my friend. And I would say about half of the money came from just that purging and cleaning and just getting rid of things that I didn't need, that weighed me down. And it's also that transformational journey with me too, where you know, you're shedding the baggage, you're getting back out there, you're running again. So that was the approach I took with this. But my tip to people would be, find your audience, target your audience, and those are the people that are going to support you. So women that you've helped to support in the past, women that you've empowered in the past, those are the ones that are going to turn around and give you the support back when you're asking. So.
That's a great tip. Sarah?
When I was training for New York in 2021, I started this, I was learning so much just about myself and running and all of these things. So I started this like lessons for my long run as just like things I was like experiencing. And I did it when I trained for Berlin in 22. And so I was like, you know what? People actually like this, which I'm shocked. Like I'm a storyteller by trade, but I was like, why do you, okay, I'm glad you're so empowered by this. And so I used that as, I'll say, my like way of accessing my audience and telling my own story. And so I did lessons for my long run, $1 is a mile. And then I just like added the link in the beginning at the end of every story and just told my own personal, you know, training journey as I did. That brought in a lot of money through Instagram, which is amazing. And then just, I'll say word of mouth too, and just bringing my, you know, close people together was really nice. And it's amazing. I don't know if any of you feel like this, but seeing like donations from coworkers and things like that, I was like, I just didn't know you cared that much. And it like truly meant so much. I was like, oh my gosh, that's, you know, $50 more that I'm not going to have to contribute at the end. And, you know, it goes quick somehow. You know, one day you blink and you're like, oh God, I have 8,000 left. And the next you're like, oh, I have $50. Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad that you found that it was a little bit easier. It definitely can feel like a part of, you know, another marathon on top of it. So once your fundraising minimum is met, I feel like a little bit of a relief.
Yes.
But just on behalf of 261 Fearless, because as part of your charity team manager, we're so grateful for all the amazing effort that you all put in, and how you help spread our mission to help empower women. I mean, you're shining examples of why we do and pursue what we do. Just a short story, I was checking into my hotel last night and my husband was with me, and the guy that was checking us in was really friendly and cheerful. He said, what brings you into Boston? And I said, oh, well, the marathon. He's like, oh, which one of you is running? And it didn't occur to me then, but this morning as I was getting ready for the 5K, I was just kind of thinking back to that conversation, and I thought, 50 years ago, that wouldn't have been a question that he would have asked. He would have assumed it was my husband that was running. And we have Catherine to thank for that. Yeah. But we also have amazing women like you who continue to push for women to believe in themselves. And the money that you raise helps us train new coaches. Sania is a new coach. Fearless Club New England, which is amazing. And just empower women to understand that they are capable of so much more than they could ever imagine. And just like the women that were watching Catherine in 1967 who were standing on the sidelines who didn't think that they could do anything like that, there are women tomorrow that are going to be watching you, or not tomorrow, Monday, watching you run that race and think, wow, maybe I could do that. Just like the women that you were watching from your hotel room. Yeah. And you're going to be that inspiration for others. And we're just so grateful for everything you've done for 261 Fearless. And we're so grateful for you taking some time to be here with us for this empowerment talk. We're going to wrap that up and leave it at that, unless there's any parting words that you have for anyone.
Just running's fun.
Running is fun.
Find a 261, your local 261 Fearless organization, and then meet runs, and they're just so much fun. So.
They really are, and I think that's important. I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people look at 261 Fearless and see our charity teams and think we're about running marathons. Oh. And that's not what 261 Fearless is about. 261 Fearless is about joyful running, right? And social running. And finding that common ground with other women and making those connections. And for me, before 261 Fearless, I was afraid of those connections, a lot of social anxiety. And it's really helped me kind of realize that there are other amazing women out there that I don't need to be afraid of. They're not competition, and they do welcome conversation. And running together is the easiest way to feel close to someone. So wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And Juliet will be back for the next empowerment talk. This was fun, but she is amazing at it. So we're going to let her continue to do the amazing work that she does. And we're back with a recap because the Boston Marathon is now complete. I'm proud to report that all 27 of our charity runners completed the Boston Marathon. Despite the rain, despite the cold, they fearlessly put one foot in front of the other and made their way from Hopkinton to Boston and crossed that finish line on Boylston Street. It was an epic day, and we are so incredibly proud of them. And we're also so incredibly grateful because collectively their efforts raised $240,000 for women's empowerment. So many women around the world are going to be empowered because they're going to have running opportunities, they're going to be educated, and it's all because of their efforts. And we are so incredibly grateful. I also want to give a special thank you to Deanna, Sarah, Sania, and Maria for joining us for this empowerment talk and sharing their insights on running to make a difference and why running is important to them and why running for 261 Fearless was something so near and dear to their hearts. If you think you might want to run for 261 Fearless as a member of our charity team, then I encourage you to visit 261fearless.org and click on the Get Involved button. That's going to give you all the information you need to know about our charity teams, and it's also going to give you an opportunity to sign up for our monthly newsletter, which will have information about everything we're doing at 261 Fearless, tips on women's health, and you will also be the first to know when applications open for any of our charity teams. So visit 261fearless.org, click on Get Involved, and thank you for joining me for this empowerment talk.